Hello everybody, this is Dead Guy 92 and this will be the first of a long series called Review by a Noob. Which basically I just go through, I'm a complete noob at these games and review certain elements to see if they may be noob friendly. Today we will be taking a look at League of Legends and a champion called Lux and my opinions of her. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I do before I play any champion is take a look at how the champion is normally played, whether I need to be mainly an attacker, tank, or support, and what is expected of the champion. So after reading a few builds on Lux, I decided that she is what I would consider an offensive support character. Her skill set and builds resemble a burst of ability power with support abilities like snare and slow. The builds I read stated that Lux should be played in mid lane, but with me being a new player, I may have been more comfortable in bottom or top with another player until I got to know the champion better. Before I get into my gameplay experience, let's take a moment to review Lux's abilities, starting with her passive ability Illumination. When you attack an enemy champion with a spell, it will mark them for 6 seconds, and Lux's next auto attack will deal a large portion of damage that will scale with her ability power and her current level. Next up is Lux's Q skill ability, Light Binding. This is a skill shot type ability that damages and ensnares the first 2 targets it hits. Therefore, you can definitely try to Q an opponent standing behind a single target like a minion. The damage for this ability will scale depending on the level of the ability and your ability power. Next up is Lux's W ability, Prismatic Barrier. Lux will throw her wand to a target location and back, bending the light around herself and any friendly champions it touches, protecting them for 35% of her ability power, plus an additional amount depending on the skill level for 3 seconds. This is especially useful in team fights, where any additional HP would be beneficial. Lux's E skill is Lucid Singularity, a delayed AoE damage skill that provides vision while it's traveling and while the AoE is active, and any champions that are damaged by the AoE or across the zone of the AoE are slowed. The orb lasts for 5 seconds or until you press E again to detonate the orb. Lux's ultimate ability is Final Spark. In my opinion, this is the spell that defines Lux. It's basically a laser beam that shoots in a straight line for up to 3000 range, which is approximately a distance from the entrance to your base to your mid lane outer turret. It's a really short cooldown, so by late game, it would be very useful, in my opinion, very powerful. Alright, so now on to my gameplay experience with Lux. Now, at first I thought she would be a very difficult champion considering her skill sets and more used for crowd control. However, playing in the middle lane, I realized that she is really good with harassing. If you happen to manage your mana early and not harass too much with skill sets and more so with your auto attack early, then that's great. You can keep the other champion from CSing and getting an edge on you. She does a very decent amount of damage, and I believe that she's one of the better champions that I've played. You just have to learn to manage your E skill wisely to harass early game, and once you land that E skill to pop off an auto attack in order to do a lot of damage early and to make your mid lane opponent a little worried there. I do not think that she's a great champion early game, but mid game to late game, she really is a great champion. The only champions I seem to have a problem with were assassins, and her crowd control along with her ultimate were just deadly once you were able to weaken down enemies in team fights, and a lot of times you are getting the last kill based off of those abilities if you can land them correctly. In my opinion, she's a great character to learn if you're a newbie here like me. She does not have a huge learning curve. Her abilities are very straightforward. There's no tricks to them. They work exactly as you see them on the screen. And I personally, after playing 3 or 4 games, I was very comfortable with her, and I had no complaints. And she may be by far one of my favorite champions. So I give her 2 thumbs up, and I do recommend her as a character for new players like me. If you like the review, feel free to subscribe. I will be trying to post at least 2 videos a week. May not be League of Legends all the time, but I am a noob in every game I play, so we will have plenty of reviews. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to comment below, and come watch me on Twitch.